Kaspa holders, are we starting to see a reversal start on Kaspa Price? Have we finally hit the bottom? Well, we'll have to see. Obviously, things for Kaspa recently have not looked particularly great, but I do maintain that Kaspa is an interesting project that should turn around at some point eventually. Now, again, that may not make it any easier if you're still holding Kaspa because it just is going down only basically, but that is ultimately what we are waiting for. Is we are waiting for that reversal and that turnaround and for the selling to finally stop. So we'll have to see kind of exactly when that is. Right now we are seeing a couple of consecutive green candles, which is good. Obviously sentiment in the crypto market is turning slightly, so hopefully we can use this for Kaspa to gain a little bit of positive momentum going on in the crypto market. But again, just because we've seen a couple of candles does not mean that everything is fixed and we're all good there. We are still in that descending channel, and so I did want to go in. We'll talk about that descending channel right now. You'll see here. This is exactly what we're looking at. We had kind of that very large consolidationary structure. We broke out of it, and since then we've been in that descending channel. You can see kind of bouncing off the bottom of the channel here now and again. Now you'll see we didn't quite hit the bottom of the channel here, but we did get very, very close, and we are now seeing a little bit of that bounce starting. As I mentioned, this could maybe be the beginnings of some reversals. You will see there is that key level of support that we fell through and have now, at least so far, have broken back through it. We'll have to see. This could always wick down and we get rejected at this point, but at least as of right now, we are seeing that kind of move through this level currently, and then we're seeing that move back to the upside here. Now again, as I've mentioned, we do need to get out of this descending channel, which means we have to break through this upside right here. If we don't, then obviously we'll continue to move further and further down in this descending channel, and we can expect that to continue to happen until we break through back onto the upside. So the first thing that we'd be looking to see is kind of a breakthrough around the 5-cent range is kind of roughly where we're at here. Obviously, if this takes further or longer to get there, we'd be getting there around 4.75 cents roughly. So that's kind of roughly where we're at right now. So moving along, we'll want to see this, of course, break through, and then from there we can start to reclaim some of these key levels of supports. 7.5 cents really kind of being the major one that we'll want to get back to. Right now, that is almost a 2x, so one step at a time, at least for right now. But that is kind of the major level that I would say we'd want to get back into, given kind of this kind of bull market type of range, I would say, that we were in. So that is going to be kind of the next place that we're going to want to get to. However, as I mentioned, we cannot confirm that this could have been a reversal, right? But generally we cannot confirm that a reversal has started until we start to see higher highs and higher lows. Now, when looking at higher highs, I would generally say this 5.4 cent range would be kind of what I would qualify as the higher high. So we need to be above, probably break through this 5.5 cent range, find maybe a top here. We probably get rejected at the 6 cent range if we even get here to begin with. And then we probably start to come right back down. And again, we will want to be looking to find that higher low here, ideally bouncing off of the upper level of this, descending trend line is kind of where we would want to be. Now, again, we've got many things to happen before then. We'll just want to essentially continue to make sure this goes up, breaks through this level. Until that happens, I personally am not going to be looking to touch Kaspa because it could continue to get lower and lower from there. So anything that I have in my spot holdings, I obviously will not be selling, but as far as buying more, I'm not particularly currently interested in that until we start to see some of the structure break. So that is, of course, what I am looking at. Of course, if you're interested and you want to buy Kaspa, all that type of good stuff, I do have those exchange links in the description below. Currently, the best deal we have is with BTCC, is a 10% deposit bonus on first-time deposits, and they're doing up to $10,055 in additional kind of deposit and trading bonuses after that. So it's a really good deal. That 10% bonus is exclusive if you use my link to sign up. That is not a standard offer that they give. So if you are looking for that extra 10%, just make sure to use my link in the description below. That is an affiliate link, so you will be able to, it'll attribute it to me essentially. So that is how you'll be able to capture that extra bonus if you are interested. Now, moving along, I want to go through a couple of different things that we're seeing actually happening in the Kaspa ecosystem. The first one here, and part of the reason as to why we're seeing some optimism that we may see some moves to the upside, is that while there is still some liquidity, I'm actually going to pull this chart up so we can see it nice and big. And while there is still some liquidity here to the downside, you can see it's incredibly limited, particularly when you start to see kind of like the 5.5 cent range, especially above like the 6.5 cent range. And then you start to get back up into that bull market area that I was talking to you about, where we're looking at 8, 9, 9.5, 10 cents. There is an insane amount of liquidity here. So there could be that possibility for seeing some, at least a limited move back to the upside. I would say obviously there's this massive gap here where there's basically no liquidity. So if we get to here, we might see kind of a fairly quick jump up through this range. But again, that is something that we'll have to just be keeping a very close eye on. I think kind of getting to this range and then coming back down, we're not going to see a straight move all the way up, right? We'll have to see kind of some structure. Like we've built structure moving to the downside, we'll need to see some structure moving to the upside, which is kind of the big thing here that we're going to be keeping a very close eye on. Now, the other thing as well that is happening that is good news is you'll see here that there are 912 public Kaspa nodes. Obviously, the goal is to get to 1,000, but this is really good to see because you will notice here is there are many people all throughout the world still building and contributing to the Kaspa ecosystem, even though price is going down. This is of course a good thing to see. It means that the core community is still here. The core community is looking to continue to improve what we're seeing here from the Kaspa community and improve the decentralization. So this is very good to see. We'll want to continue to see this to develop over time, of course, and essentially continue to grow regardless of what price does. That is, of course, a good sign of a very strong project that is building kind of that fundamental ground layer of decentralization. So in my opinion, I think that this is a good thing to see. We'll have to continue to watch it grow over time, and I am going to be watching very closely. Now, again, on price, I think we'll see it flip at some point. Right now, it is purely just a waiting game. We have to wait. We have to take the time. I did actually, in my last Kaspa video, I talked about kind of the path that Kaspa has been following, similar to Bitcoin in its early days. And you have to remember that Bitcoin from top to bottom went down, I think, 85% in that first cycle. At some points seeing lows of like over 90%, right? And so the fact that we're seeing such a massive sell-off from Kaspa, in my opinion, is not particularly too worrying. It's just part of being a very early on project. The thing that is important is to make sure that the technology continues to improve, the community continues to improve, the infrastructure continues to improve. All of this stuff is very important. And so that is what I am personally looking to keep a very close eye on. Not as much price so far, though of course we want to keep a very close look on price just to make sure that when we start to see things turn around, we are ready and we're ready to kind of capitalize on that event as we start to see it happen. So overall, that is my opinion on kind of what we're seeing in Kaspa. Hopefully you found it helpful and useful. If you did, of course, you know what to do. I really appreciate all of the support and all of the help here. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.